Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
The interviews for today's show were recorded before the event in Tunisia, and everybody who's involved with the show, our thoughts are with the victims and their friends and family. You're listening to the third birthday for the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Because it's my third birthday, I'm going to look at two things that are very important to me. The first is Puerto Vallarta, which is the very first long destination for my very first long-haul holiday. It's on the Pacific side of Mexico, and I've got Debbie Walker in to talk about a particular hotel there. Not the hotel I stayed at. This one is far better, far superior than the one I stayed at. It's like my first day at work, going to work on a push bike, and then 3 years later going on a Rolls Royce. There's that much difference, but I'm not going to name the hotel I was at because that wouldn't be fair. And also consumer protection. Over the 3 years of the travel show, consumer protection's come up quite often in my show because I'm a strong believer in the travel trade cleaning up its act and treating consumers fairly. It's one of those industries where you put all your money up front so you don't get to try before you buy. So having the right rules, regulations and terms and conditions in place is very important as far as I'm concerned. And I have Frank Brehany from Holiday Travel Watch on to talk about his organisation and rules and regulations. He's been on before, and you better find out more about the Holiday Travel Watch from an earlier show. And before I introduce Frank, I will give you the dates so you can find out what we spoke about last time he was on. But first, Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. My first guest, Debbie Walker, represents Barceló Hotels, who have hotels all over the world. We're going to find out more about them as a hotel chain, and then we're going to get into the specifics of this particular hotel, because if you haven't been on the Pacific side of Mexico, you haven't been to Mexico as far as I'm concerned. So here's Debbie to tell us who Barceló Hotels are.
So it's a family business. It was started by a guy called Simon Barceló back in 1931. Started off as a small family travel and transportation business in Mallorca. Went into travel agencies in 1954. Added hotels and resorts in the 60s. And now they're a family business with 23,000 employees across 16 different countries. So they're a company that's not hugely known in the UK, but as I say, as a Spanish company, they're very, very well known and worldwide. As I say, there are a lot of properties around there. First one was actually opened in Mallorca in 1962. So that was the first hotel, and then they developed the first hotel into being a resort hotel, incorporating sports and leisure facilities, and that happened in sort of 1965. So they really were sort of one of the first people to kind of cotton on to, like, not just a hotel, but a hotel should be more. And as I say, it's very, very family focused in their properties.
How many countries are covered now?
16 countries. So mainly Europe. Mm-hmm. So as I say, pretty much every Spanish city and every Spanish island will have a Barceló hotel. But they've also got the Caribbean, Mexico, Latin America, including Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Egypt and Morocco. So say just in the Dominican Republic alone, they've got 7 hotels and 10 hotels in Mexico as well. So, the only place they don't really have hotels is the UK and Ireland. Oh.
Well, sometimes looking at the weather, I can understand that. As a group, are they mainly mid-range or high-range hotels?
They are exclusively 4- and 5-star hotels and resorts. Back in 2005, they actually sat down and revised their strategy, and this was one of the strategies that they implemented to raise all their hotels up to a minimum 4-star, 5-star standard. So, you're getting a very, very good quality range in the hotels.
My type of hotel's that. I'm spoiled.
They do vary, though. As I say, that can be a boutique 5-star hotel to a large 4-star resort. So, it's not, if you checked into one Barceló hotel, you wouldn't turn up at another Barceló hotel and expect it to be the same. One of the unique things is they actually own the hotels. They don't lease them. So, as I say, they're family owned. So each property does have its own individual character, which is quite nice.
You've just been to the hotel in Puerto Vallarta. I'll probably pronounced that incorrectly. That was where I had my first long-haul holiday 20-odd years ago, and getting there was a nightmare. But how did you get there from the UK?
Well, it wasn't so much a nightmare for me because I went on the Dreamliner, so it was a dream. It's 12 and a half hours. We flew from Gatwick direct, watched 4 movies, had 2 in-flight meals, a little siesta, a vodka and orange, and then arrived in Puerto Vallarta. So it was actually, although it's a long way to go, the Dreamliner was a daytime flight going out and a nighttime flight coming back. So the actual journey itself was actually quite pleasant. Even in economy class, it was, the first time on the Dreamliner as well, so it was quite nice to experience that too.
Not been on a Dreamliner yet, but the one we went on, it couldn't go straight across the Atlantic, so it covered, kept close to Greenland and Iceland and Canada and everything, and there's a stop in Orlando, so it took 16 odd hours, so it's definitely better now.
You went the scenic route, no,
I did,
it was, really straight. I think the direct flights were actually introduced last year. So, as I say, it does open up that part of Mexico now. Because, say, most people, they look at Cancun and Riviera Maya, but as I say, there's a whole different coastline over that other side that's just right to be explored. So,
yeah, I do prefer that side of Mexico. So, with direct flights, I'll have to get back there. You just come back. I mean, is there a good time of year to go to that particular area, or is it an all-round resort?
Well, I've got to say it was very, very humid. This time of year, it's the heat. It's kind of on the same latitude as Hawaii, so you've got, let's say, it's very, very humid, very, very hot. There's quite a few tropical storms. Didn't really affect the holiday, but if you don't like that sort of sticky humidity, it might not be the best time to go. But if you kind of wanted to avoid that, November through to March there's pretty much no rain whatsoever. Nice hot sunny days without being overly hot. But yeah, I wouldn't let it put me off. I would go back at this time of year again. But as I say, yeah, it was very hot and humid out there. But I think, as I say, in hindsight, looking again, I think I'd probably maybe go a little bit earlier in the year if I could, just to avoid, I'd say, just that heat of summer.
Yeah, we went in July, and the very first day just chucked it down all day. It was horrible. We thought, oh no, but for the rest of the holiday, the 2 weeks, it was just dry and hot and sunny. So.
Well, the first day it rained, and the second day it rained too, and I was like, right, okay, so much so that I even went to the gym just to sort of find something to do, but yeah, then it cleared up, and as I say, some of the photographs that I've taken and the sunsets and the skies were just fantastic. So, as I say, it was a couple of days, but the heat, and it was very hot, and I was just in one way going, actually, with my very pale, pasty skin, I think it might have been too much to have had that for the full 7 days. So it did break it up, and actually, the whole point was to go and relax. It gave me the chance to get tucked into a good novel and just relax.
So it worked out fine.
It did. It wasn't complaints. It was just an observation. So, yeah.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Coming up, we've got Eric and Ernie.
Join me here on Seclo Sounds.
In your smile. It's from 1975. Eric and Ernie were four...
Gary, it's not Eric and Ernie, it's Earl and Ernie, the Cape Brothers, Union Man.
Oh, I see.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Earl and Ernie.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. So it's the show's third birthday. The first broadcast was the 30th of June 2012, and it was awful. It was diabolical. Even the sound engineer I had with me for my first show, I think he struggled to stay awake, and I only spoke for half an hour, and the rest of the show was music. If you ever have trouble sleeping, if you go to mixcloud.com and search for John Guinn Travel Show, just find the show for the 30th of June 2012 and put that on, and you'll be nodding away in the land of Zeds and everything before you know it. Things have changed a lot since then. I'm a little bit better. I'm still monotone, but sometimes I'm a little bit cheerful now when I speak. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm celebrating the 3rd anniversary by talking about 2 different things that are very important to me. Puerto Vallarta, which is the destination of my first ever long-haul holiday 20 odd years ago, and consumer protection. And with consumer protection, it'll be Frank from Holiday Travel Watch who'll be talking to us about how the travel industry can improve the way they do business with consumers. But now we're talking about the Barceló Puerto Vallarta with Debbie Walker, who represents the hotel chain in the UK. We're going to find out if it's a big or a small hotel, because it's important to people. Sometimes they don't want to end up in a large place, or they don't want to be somewhere too small. We're now going to find out how this fits in.
Well, for a Barceló Hotel, it's probably one of the smaller properties in Mexico because it's only got the 316 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And if you compare it to the last one I stayed at in Riviera Maya, that had 2,004 rooms. So as a hotel, it's quite small for one of our hotels, although some people might say, 316, that sounds quite large. But I think for, say, a Mexican hotel, with the facilities that it offered, I'd sort of say that was sort of a medium-sized hotel, but it is one of our smaller properties.
That sounds an ideal size for me. I'm not a people person. Was it an all-inclusive resort, or was it bed and breakfast?
Oh, no, it was all-inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say most of our resorts in the Dominican Republic and Mexico, we sort of do the all-inclusive concept just to make it easier on everybody.
You said it's as far as the range is concerned, it was quite a small hotel. Was it still family friendly?
Very much so, yeah. There's a little kids club there that's open from 9 till 6. So children who want to get away from their parents have got that opportunity. And what's quite sweet is, I'd say, they're a really family-focused hotel chain. We do have some adults-only properties, but this one, as I say, has those principles where even if you go into the buffet restaurant, the kids have their own little buffet section area. Their own pools. But yeah, they're very, very family-friendly and family-orientated hotels.
This particular resort, what does the leading room offer?
The leading room we have there is actually the deluxe suite. So that can accommodate up to 4 guests, and that can be a combination of 3 adults, 1 child, 2 adults, 2 children. It's pretty much what you expect from our standard hotels. So, you've got your robes, your slippers, your mini bar, that's stocked with cold drinks. The one thing we don't have in the room is sort of big bottles of gin and objects. And part of the reason is that you don't want little Sally going and helping herself to a gin and tonic breakfast at the age of 7. So we kind of don't have that much alcohol in display in the bedrooms. The best things about the rooms are the amazing rain showers that we have in the bathrooms. The bathrooms are absolutely stunning. And we also have these pillow menus, and it's not that you tick which pillow you want. You actually have all the pillows in your room. So you can have great fun confusing the cleaner by changing your pillows every morning and, going from the hard to the soft. And she thinks she's got you what you like, and then you just confuse her by changing them all again. But, very, very, very nice, good size room, 68 metres minimum size, good size.
Oh, you don't want to be mean to the cleaner. Some of your competitors, they have the rooms, but then you have an upgrade where you can get more bits and pieces for part of your stay. Do you offer something like that?
Yeah, we call it the Club Premium upgrade. So it's something that can be pre-purchased with your tour operator, your travel agent here, or you can do that in resort. It's something that I'd actually encourage, especially the UK market to do. Because it just gives you access to a private lounge. And in the private lounge, they have, they have a bar service, they have canapes, they have an area that you can go away from the main buffet and have lunch or breakfast. It also gives you complimentary Wi-Fi if you're a Club Premium member, and it also allows you access to what we call the best rooms in the house, which are, in the case of Puerto Vallarta, the oceanfront rooms. So all the rooms pretty much face onto the pool with a view of the beach, but if you're a Club Premium upgraded member, you can actually sit and have an 100% ocean view room as well. So it's not a huge supplement to pay, but I'd say it's something that just makes your holiday experience that little bit more of a holiday. And it also, gives you unlimited reservations to the restaurants as well. So there's just quite a few little perks that it just gives you.
It does sound worth it, definitely.
It is. They actually, on this one as well, because each hotel's different, they actually gave you a free city tour as well. So they actually gave you a complimentary excursion if you're a Club Premium guest on this this particular hotel. So